I'm going to do a little quick review of my Ruger Mark III 2245. Give my opinions what I think about this gun. This gun is excellent. I kind of refer to it as the AK-47 of 22 pistols because of its reliability and its simplicity. It's one of those guns where it's kind of ugly, but it's kind of ugly because it wasn't designed to look like a centerfire pistol. It wasn't designed to have a slide on the top coming back. It was designed to function well. So whatever it looks like is what it looks like when they made it. I mean, yes, they made the grip look like a 1911, but the top looks like nothing pretty much. The only problems I've ever had with this pistol is the sights, basically. That's the only real problem. The sights on this gun, as well as some other Rugers, kind of cheap with the adjustable sights. So I replaced the adjustable sights with these fixed sights. I think this one was like $5, this one was $10 to replace it. Wasn't a big deal. And the only other thing I had a problem with was a rebound spring. That's a little tiny spring inside that pushes the firing pin back after it goes forward. But that can literally take 1,000 rounds of ammo. I haven't tested it beyond that. And just fire the thing all day. As long as they're round-nosed bullets, the thing will never jam. I mean, I could go through 1,000 rounds, not a single feed jam or anything. Not a single firing problem. They all go off, no misfires. And even when this thing is dirty as can be, I mean, you have grit in there and that bolt doesn't even want to close all the way, it still fires and fires and fires. It's kind of one of those guns that has a slightly loose tolerances to it. So there can be other stuff in there and it still just keeps firing. A gun with loose tolerances like that is a really reliable gun. That's what this is. Taking it apart isn't that hard either. There's a lot of horror stories about how to take it apart. Well, that's not that hard. And basically with the magazine out, you take a little screwdriver or something, you pop this little jackknife looking thing out and pull it out. Actually, you have to make sure the hammer's decocked first, which is not. There. Actually, I gotta push it back in. Okay, I gotta decock the hammer by firing it. Then that piece will pop out all the way. Like that. Pull through. I haven't done this in about 6 months, so. There's your bolt and mainspring. I'm going to show the rebound spring that I had to replace once. Push this pin through. Firing pin comes out. Itty bitty spring that pushes the firing pin back away from the bullet after it fires. About a third of that busted off, and I replaced it. But even before I replaced it, I put what was left of it back in there and it still kept firing. That's the great thing about this gun, they make it user friendly. It's easy to replace any part on it. To put this rebound spring back in place, you have to put the little leaf thing forward on the bolt. Put it in a little groove that goes there. And just the spring part of the spring, leave towards the back, set the firing pin. Just the spring itself rests on this. Push it forward and push this little pin back in place. I push there, it goes back forward. This thing goes back in place. That's basically how you get the bolt apart. Getting the gun apart, that's easy. You just take it upside down like this, just push, it comes right off. You spray your foaming cleaner in there, let it soak, do whatever you gotta do to clean it. Real simple design. Put it back together, same thing, line it up, and push the opposite on the muzzle to get that click. Put it back together is pretty easy. that bolt in there. Oh, gotta push this little lever down. Bolt in. That ain't going in. Sometimes they're tricky, but there we go. Now flip the thing upside down, put a magazine in it, pull the trigger, push that thing forward, pop the magazine out, flip the jackknife back up, put it back in. I did something wrong. Happens all the time. Do one step wrong and there's something wrong with it, or it doesn't want to stick back right. Magazine's jammed. I have no idea why that happens sometimes, but it does. It's like you do one step wrong. See, now that won't even come out. Again. Sometimes it's a simple gun, sometimes it's a not simple gun. Don't always know what caused it to not go back together right. I mean, it's flipping it at the wrong time. That goes back in place. This goes in. I think maybe I flipped it before I pulled the trigger. I think maybe I'm supposed to do this. Put it down. The trigger pull, flip it then push it in. Pull the mag out. That was it. Just simply flipping it at the wrong time is what causes some issues. But overall, would I recommend this? Yeah, and then some. This gun run about $250 new. But for a gun that can just fire 1,000+ rounds of ammo without needing to be cleaned, without jamming, and is so user-friendly. You can replace literally every part on this thing. You can replace different springs with better springs. You can replace firing pins. You can just replace any little part in there. And most of those parts are like $5 parts. Unless you go with titanium. You can get a titanium firing pin. I think those run about $30. You could go all out on this thing and deck it out and get some titanium firing pin in it. Better springs. Any type of sights you want on it. It's real easy to replace any of that stuff on it, and it's accurate. I mean, notebook sized piece of paper you can hit at 100 yards all day with this thing, just with those sights. So really is one of the best 22 handguns there are. Much better than some of the 22 revolvers I've had. Those have issues. This thing, low tolerances, high reliability. I have really not much bad to say about it, except superficial things like sights that aren't a problem when you replace them with better sights. So that's what I think. So thanks for watching.